My husband didn't cheat on me with another woman. He cheated on me with a spreadsheet. Technically, it was a Google Sheet, buried inside a group chat folder on his laptop, but the first time I opened it, it felt more intimate than any affair. It happened on a Tuesday night, which somehow makes it worse. Cheating feels like a Friday thing, a disaster you see coming with empty wine bottles and late-night texts. But this started because Ethan couldn't find a charger. "Babe, can you plug my laptop in?" he yelled from the shower. "It's in my bag. I've got a client call in the morning. I don't want it dying overnight." I was already in the kitchen, packing my lunch for the next day. I grabbed his backpack from the chair, pulled the laptop out, flipped it open to make sure it wasn't already at 100%. It wasn't. It was on 8%. It was also already awake. He'd left it logged in, screen lit. The last thing he'd been doing was messaging in a group chat called Boys Performance Review Face with tears of joy. My first thought was that it was about work. He and his friends all worked at different agencies. They complained about clients constantly. I wasn't snooping, I told myself, just glancing. But then my eyes caught a single line. "Ethan, Maya's at like a 6.5 this month. Cooking's up, sex is mid, mood is volatile face with tears of joy." I went still. It's amazing how fast your body knows something your brain refuses to accept. My fingers went cold. The room got louder and quieter at the same time. I could hear the dishwasher humming, the shower running, my own heart thudding. I scrolled. There it was, a pinned Google Sheet link at the top of the chat. Wife/GF scorecard cute whoa, my own name sat in a neat list of women I'd had dinner with, laughed with, sent congratulations to when they got promoted or pregnant. Columns labeled, looks, housework, sex, attitude, supportiveness, drama, each scored 110, each reviewed once a month. I clicked my name. Looks 8, gym's paying off, housework. 6, she's busy W/work though, sex. 5, same routine, low initiative, attitude. 4, snappy lately, probably period lol, supportiveness. 9, covered rent when my bonus got delayed, MVP, drama. 7, cried about my late night again, total. 39/60. Average, 6.5. Underneath was a comment from Aaron, his best friend since college. "Aaron, bro, 6.5 is generous. My girl's at a 7.2 this month and she made steak twice and didn't complain when I went out." Mark, Elmau downgrade if she brings up therapy again. Instant -1. I scrolled more. There were months of this, jokes, adjustments, bets. If Hannah hits 8 2 months in a row, I'm proposing. Jess was a 9 before the baby, now she's like a 5.5, no time, no energy. Nature is cruel. Hot take, 10s don't nag, that's the real metric. I don't remember plugging the laptop in. I remember putting my hands on the counter and leaning forward, trying not to throw up. We'd been married 4 years. Together for 9. We'd done the whole thing, broke 20-somethings in a crappy studio, trading shifts and instant noodles, then promotions, a bigger apartment, joint savings, plans for a house in a few years. I thought we were partners. I thought when he looked at me, he saw history. Love, shared exhaustion. Instead, he'd turned me into a line item, a score, a number on a list he shared with men who rated their women like they were comparing phones. The shower turned off. Panic hit like a slap. I snapped the laptop shut just as Ethan walked into the kitchen in a towel, rubbing his hair. "You okay?" he asked. "You look like you saw a ghost." I looked at the man I'd promised to spend my life with, the man who'd apparently given me a 5 in bed and found it hilarious, and I heard my own voice come out too smoothly. "Yeah," I lied. "It's nothing." That was the night I learned something important. Sometimes the most dangerous thing you can say isn't, "How could you?" It's "got it." Because that's the night you stop playing your role and start writing a new script. One where you're not the one being rated. You're the one taking notes. I didn't sleep much that night. Ethan snored beside me like any other Tuesday. His arm was heavy across my waist, his breath warm on my neck. Usually, that grounded me. Now it felt like being pinned under something I hadn't consented to. At 3 a.m., I slid out of bed, padded to the living room, and opened his laptop again. I told myself if I was going to burn my marriage down, I needed to know exactly what I was burning. The chat was still open. I scrolled up further and further until the timestamps blurred and the months blended together. It wasn't just the scores. It was the tone. "Ethan, Maya's in one of her we should talk moods again." Might be a 4 this week on attitude. Aaron, just mute her emotionally till it passes face with tears of joy. Mark, offer to do the dishes, they short circuit, free +2. Ethan, L. Mao noted. There were screenshots too. Pictures we'd taken together on vacation, cropped to my body with emojis over my face. A bikini shot from our anniversary trip. Ethan, still got it though. Aaron, body is 9, personality is 3. Average out, my guy. I clicked another tab in the sheet. Historic notes. Someone had logged specific events that affected scores. Jan Maya got promotion +2 supportiveness, +1 drama, more late nights. More complaints. Mar argument about boys trip right arrow -2 attitude, +1 drama. May surprise birthday party for Ethan +2 supportiveness, +1 looks dress, +2 sex hotel. They had turned my life into data points. My victories, my sacrifices, my intimate moments, weighted and averaged by men who couldn't remember their own girlfriends' birthdays without a Facebook reminder. I felt something inside me crack. The version of me that would have run into the bedroom and screamed, "What is wrong with you?" was loud in my head. I could see that scene play out, Ethan half asleep, blinking, defensive. It was just jokes. All guys talk like that. You're overreacting. Why were you snooping? He'd flip it. He always could if I let him talk long enough, so I didn't confront him, not yet. I opened a new folder on my own laptop and started saving. Screenshots of the chat. Downloads of the sheet. Dates. Times. Names. Every line where they rated someone's body. Every joke where they called a woman dramatic for crying. Every bet about proposing, based on whether a girlfriend kept a certain weight. I saved the comments about me last. The ones that stung the most weren't about sex or looks. It was a line from 3 months ago. Ethan, Maya's great on paper, but she's heavy, always wanting to talk, process, grow. Sometimes I just want someone who's chill. 8 years together boiled down to great on paper. I closed the folder. For the next week, I moved like a ghost in my own life. I woke up, went to work, sent emails, sat in meetings. Came home, cooked dinner. Laughed when Ethan told stories about his clients. And every night when he fell asleep, I went back to the chat and collected more, not just about me, about the others. Hannah, who brought lasagna to every game night. Jess, who just had a baby and was still tender and tired. Kim, who worked double shifts as a nurse while Mark called her low energy for not wanting to go out drinking after. I started recognizing patterns. The higher a woman's supportiveness score, the more they drained her. The more she covered, the more they expected. The more she spoke up, the more drama points she got. It wasn't just a spreadsheet. It was a manual. A system for teaching each other how to push and pull women into shapes they liked. One night, I almost told Hannah. We were leaving brunch, hugging goodbye in the parking lot. She'd laughed about Aaron being such a boy about the dishes. I opened my mouth and closed it again. Not yet, I thought. If I swung too early, they'd circle the wagons. They'd call it fake, doctored. A joke blown out of proportion. I needed more than anger. I needed leverage. So I kept smiling. I kissed Ethan goodnight and brought him coffee in the mornings. He thought his score was safe. He had no idea I'd stopped being the one on the spreadsheet. I was the one marking categories in my head. Career, friends, reputation, finances, family. And I just started calculating how to drop his score in every single one. Revenge looks glamorous in movies. In real life, it starts with boring things. Opening a new bank account in your own name. Forwarding your pay to it instead of the joint account. Taking photos of every important document in the house and saving them somewhere Ethan couldn't see. I met with a lawyer on my lunch break one day. A quiet woman named Carla who didn't flinch when I said, "I think my husband is emotionally abusing me. And I think I'm sitting on evidence that could blow up his whole world." She read the screenshots without interrupting. Occasionally, her jaw tightened. Once, she muttered, "Idiots," under her breath. "Is this enough to sue?" I asked. She shook her head. "It's disgusting, degrading, good leverage in a divorce, but on its own, a judge might see it as boys being boys." The familiar rage surged. "What about the others?" I asked. "The way they talk about their girlfriends' wives?" "The same," she said. "Morally appalling, not necessarily illegal." I deflated. Then she leaned forward. "But," she said quietly, "men who are this careless about people's dignity are usually careless about other things too." Money, work, boundaries. If you keep looking, I'd bet there's more than just trash talk. Like what? I asked. She shrugged. I don't know, lying to clients, tax stuff, sharing confidential information. His company might be very interested in how their star behaves off the clock. A new category lit up in my mind. Work ethics, TBD. I walked back to the office that afternoon feeling something I hadn't felt in days: purpose. That night, Ethan went to his weekly poker game at Aaron's. He kissed my cheek on the way out. Don't wait up, he said. We might go late. Have fun, I said. As soon as the door closed, I opened his laptop and watched the live commentary roll in. Aaron, boys' night, let's go. Mark, wives' scores reset at midnight, right? Fresh start tomorrow. Ethan, Elmau, I need Maya to pull some 8 behavior, I'm tired of 6s. I stared at that line. Tired of 6s? Like he was shopping on Amazon and not describing the woman who'd held his hand when his dad died. Carla's words echoed in my head. Careless about this. Careless about other things. I started scrolling back, not for months, for years. Past the newer scorecard jokes. Back to when they were just 4 guys at entry-level jobs, complaining about bosses, bragging about closing their first small accounts. That's when I found it, a thread from 3 years ago. Ethan, landed the Radley contract today. Aaron, did they not ask about your past numbers? Ethan, showed them the revised deck Elmau. Bumped Q4 by 15%, rounded churn down. They ate it up. Mark, my king of creative accounting. Ethan, it's not lying if the next quarter is better, face with tears of joy, Aaron. Better hope no one ever audits. Ethan, clients see what we show them, that's the game. I screenshotted everything, then I started noticing more. Snaps of documents on his screen, sent in the chat for advice. Client names visible, pricing details, internal strategy. Stuff he was absolutely not supposed to share externally. I wasn't an expert in corporate compliance, but I knew enough to recognize phrases like non-disclosure, proprietary, confidential. Ethan had signed all those, and then bragged about breaking them to the same idiots who rated their wives like Yelp reviews. A plan started to take shape. Not a neat one, not a movie montage, a slow, satisfying sequence of falling dominoes. Step 1, secure my position, no shared debts, protected savings. Step 2, collect everything. Not just she's a 6.5, but I lied on my metrics. I shared confidential info. Step 3, decide which pillar to kick first, his friends, his job, his marriage, or his carefully curated good guy image. I lay in bed that night with my back to Ethan while he slept, scrolling through his own words. He rated me on looks, housework, sex, attitude, drama, supportiveness. So I made my own categories for him. Honesty, loyalty, respect, professional conduct, friendship, self-awareness, honesty. 2. Loyalty. 3. Respect. 1. Professional conduct. We'd see. Friendship. 0 if his friends knew what he said about them when they weren't around. Self-awareness. Negative numbers. Total, not husband material. Now I just had to decide how loudly his final score would be announced. Revenge is like testing a fire alarm. You don't pull it in the middle of a normal day, you do a drill first. My drill was small, targeted, almost petty. It started with a birthday. Hannah turned 32 weeks after I found the spreadsheet. Aaron planned a big dinner, invited a bunch of friends, made a whole speech in the group chat about spoiling his queen. I knew, from the sheet, that he'd logged her as a 7.8 last month. Great in bed, decent cook, a little clingy lately, he'd written. Could be wifey material if she chills. Classy. At the dinner, Hannah wore a blue dress and the smile of someone who still believed her boyfriend adored her without conditions. I brought a bottle of decent wine and my best normal friend face. Between dessert and drinks, the boys drifted to one end of the table, the women to the other. They're such children sometimes, Hannah said, watching them huddle over Aaron's phone, laughing. I swear they're still 21. Yeah, I said, swirling my wine. Do they have that same chat they've had since college? She laughed. God, yes. The boys' room. I don't even want to know what's in there. She said it like it was a joke. I heard my own voice ask, almost casually, if you found out he was rating you, like literally putting a score on you, what would you do? She pulled a face. You, like a game? Yeah. She thought for a second. Dump him, she said. On the spot, why? Just curious, I said. Test result, predictable. Later, when we all posed for a group photo outside, Ethan slipped an arm around my waist, kissed my cheek as the phone timed down. "Love you," he murmured. The words felt like someone else's. On the ride home, he chattered about the guy's upcoming cabin weekend. "Just four of us like old times," he said. "Fishing, beers, cards, no drama." I stared out the window. "Sounds fun." Back home, after he fell asleep, I checked the chat. They were already updating numbers. Aaron, "Hannah's an 8 tonight easy, she killed that dress." Mark, "Just stayed home w/the baby, calling that a 5 on support but 9 on mom points." Ethan, "Maya solid 7, barely complained about my trip. Might be turning a corner face with tears of joy, barely complained." I hadn't complained at all. That was the point. The next morning, instead of going straight to work, I went back to Carla. "I want to file for divorce," I said, "but I want to do it in a way that hurts." She didn't look surprised. "Have you gathered more?" I slid a flash drive across the table. "His group admits he lies to clients, shares confidential stuff, mocking recordings of coworkers. The whole thing is disgusting." She plugged it in, scanned the folders. "This," she said, tapping the screen, "isn't just leverage. This is a liability for him and his employer. If they find out before he's out the door, they'll cut him loose to protect themselves." "Good," I said. She studied me. "Are you trying to ruin his life or just free yourself from it?" I thought of the spreadsheet, my body rated, my grief quantified, my rent payments logged as supportiveness. "I'm trying," I said slowly, "to give him a taste of being reduced to a number. The way he did to me," she nodded once. "Then here's what I suggest." The plan she laid out wasn't explosive. It was surgical. Quietly separate finances, quietly line up housing, quietly prepare divorce papers. And then, at the last moment, not so quietly make sure his HR department received an anonymous package containing his greatest hits. I walked out of her office into the bright afternoon feeling calmer than I had in weeks. On the train, my phone buzzed. A message from Ethan in the group chat. "Ethan, boys trip T-5 days. Pray for my liver." Aaron, "If anyone's rating still at 7+ after this weekend, shots on you." Mark, "Or we downgrade and upgrade the rotation face with tears of joy." I stared at that last line. Upgrade the rotation. Rotation. That was when it clicked. The trip wasn't just about boys. It was about testing boundaries. Seeing how far they could take their little rating game before it tipped into something they could pretend was an accident. I opened a new note in my phone and wrote one sentence. "Boys trip equals perfect stage." I wasn't going to stop the trip. I was going to use it. He thought his weekend away might bump his fun husband score. He had no idea it was going to be the weekend his whole life got audited. The cabin was 3 hours away in the mountains, the same cabin they'd rented every year since college. I'd been once, back when I was still trying to fit into Ethan's friend circle. It smelled like beer, mildew, and fragile masculinity. The night before they left, Ethan was buzzing with excitement. "You sure you're good this weekend?" he asked, pacing while stuffing socks into a backpack. "I know you get lonely." Lonely. I thought about telling him the truth, that I'd spent the last 2 weeks building the case that would destroy his reputation, his job, and the little hierarchy he and his friends worshipped. But instead I smiled sweetly. "I'll be fine. Have fun." "Best wife," he said, kissing my forehead. I almost laughed. He had no idea my supportiveness points were about to be weaponized. When he left at dawn, I stood at the window and watched the car disappear. Then I picked up my phone and sent Raj a screenshot Ethan had posted in the chat. A photo of the cabin, coordinates tagged. Caption, "Let chaos begin, fire." Raj's reply came instantly. "Perfect. Microphones ready when you are." We spent the morning prepping. Raj had found a way to turn their own stupidity into evidence. Using the cabin's open Wi-Fi, the same unsecured network they used to upload drunk pictures every year, he could sync anything they backed up automatically. The boys never turned off autosync. They bragged about that. "They're basically live streaming their toxicity," Raj said. "We're just tuning in." By noon, Ethan posted the first video, a beer chugging contest. The comments from the guys were mostly harmless, shouting, laughing, until the conversation turned. "Aaron, bro Maya gave you a 7? After last month? Harsh." Mark, "Mine's at 6, but she's behaving so it's whatever." Ethan, "Maya's getting predictable, boring. She'd freak if she saw the scorecard." Then Aaron said, Aaron, if she freaks, downgrade, easy. I felt the first spark of anger turn into something colder, not rage, resolve. But the real hit came later that night. Around 11:30 p.m., after hours of drinking, someone in the group suggested an audit. They opened the spreadsheet on a projector screen, literally projecting their wives' and girlfriends' scores onto a bare wooden wall, like they were reviewing quarterly profits. I could hear it through the synced audio. Laughter. Jokes, my name, Ethan, she's stable, like she's not going anywhere. I could probably neg her down to a 5 and she'll still work to impress me. Aaron, facts, she's loyal, you can push. Push. Push like I was clay, like my emotions were a lever he could pull to shape me. Raj looked at me carefully. Are you okay? I wasn't, but I nodded. Keep recording. The final straw wasn't even about me, it was about Jess. We heard Mark say, Mark, if Jess doesn't lose the baby weight by summer, she's gonna drop to like a 3. I can't be married to a 3, bro. The others laughed. That was the moment I stopped feeling heartbreak and started feeling purpose. The day the boys returned from the cabin, I was ready. Not emotionally, no one is ever emotionally ready to torch their own life. But strategically? Yes, perfectly. Ethan walked in smelling like campfire and beer, dumped his bag on the floor, and kissed my cheek. Miss me? He asked. No, but I smiled again. Of course. He took a long shower while I finished packing the last box, the one with my legal documents, birth certificate, passport, and the flash drive of evidence. Before he came out, I placed the divorce papers face down on the dining table, under an envelope with his name. Not for today, for later. He collapsed on the couch after his shower. Cabin was insane. You'd have hated it. I absolutely would have. That bad? I asked. He grinned. You know how it is, boys being boys. Boys being boys. The phrase that had excused so much cruelty it deserved its own funeral. That night he fell asleep instantly, snoring, mouth open, while I lay awake staring at the ceiling. Tomorrow was Monday. Tomorrow the first domino would fall. Domino number 1. His work reputation at 7:58 a.m., an anonymous package arrived in the inbox of his company's HR director, compliance officer, and CEO. It contained screenshots of him bragging about falsifying numbers, videos of him discussing confidential client data, recordings of him mocking coworkers and clients in disgusting ways, a transcript of him admitting to ethically violating an NDA. To ensure it wasn't dismissed as fabricated, I had included exact timestamps, IP addresses, original file metadata, locations matching company offices. There was no denying it. At 10:32 a.m., Ethan texted me. Babe, something's wrong at work. Did you touch anything on my laptop? I stared at the text before typing back. No, why? They're saying I leaked stuff. It's insane. Someone hacked us. Someone hacked them. Interesting that he never suspected the truth. Someone listened. Someone cared. Someone stopped playing by the rules he used to control me. By noon, he was placed on administrative leave pending investigation. He came home shaken, pale, pacing. I don't get it, he kept saying. Why would anyone target me? I watched him unravel. Watched the first pillar of his identity crack. Career, downgraded, score, 3. He kept repeating. This has to be a mistake. I almost felt sorry for him. Almost. Once the HR team started digging through Ethan's files, I moved on to the next step. Domino number 2, inform the women. I didn't send the whole spreadsheet to everyone. I curated. Carefully. For each woman, I gathered only the comments and scores that involved her, nothing about anyone else. Clean, ethical, direct. I sent them from a private email at 4 p.m. By 4:07, I got the first reply. From Jess. Is this a joke? Mark would never. At 4:09, I confronted him. He admitted it. Oh my God. At 4:15 from Hannah, please tell me this isn't real. Please. At 4:16, he said it was a game, a joke. Maya, what do I do? At 4:20, Kim, thank you for telling me. This explains so much. I didn't respond with advice. I simply wrote, you deserve someone who doesn't treat your worth like a scoreboard. That was it. Within 24 hours, Hannah dumped Aaron. Jess took the baby and went to her sister's. Kim blocked Mark everywhere. 2 girlfriends broke up with the men immediately. 1 wife kicked her husband out. 1 woman emailed the spreadsheet directly to a marriage therapist. As the boys' lives started collapsing in parallel, new messages began appearing in the group chat, desperate, frantic, pathetic. Aaron, who sent the wives stuff? Mark, this is insane, someone's trying to ruin us. Ethan, Maya wouldn't do this, she's not like that. Aaron, bro, she's been acting off for WEKS, wake up. Mike, my girl's gone, what the hell? Ethan, wait. Does anyone have access logs? Mark, everything leads back to OUR Wi-Fi, you idiots synced everything. Aaron, someone hacked us at the cabin? Ethan, no, someone new. Then, Ethan, I need to talk to Maya. And just like that, the men realized they had underestimated every woman they rated. Their entire empire, built on jokes, objectification, and misplaced confidence, collapsed overnight. Reputation downgraded, score 1. The morning after the breakups, Ethan confronted me, not gently. He slammed the bedroom door open at 6:17 a.m., face red, eyes wild. I sat up slowly, calmly. Did you send something to my job? He demanded. No, I said truthfully. I didn't send anything to your job. He blinked. What about the girls? Did you contact them? I contacted them, I said. They deserved the truth. His face contorted. You ruined us. No, I said. Your actions did. He paced like a caged animal. You don't get it. This spreadsheet, it was just fun, just guy stuff. I cut him off. Do you want me to read your comments about me out loud? Or maybe the one about Jess's body? Or the line where Mark said he'd leave his wife if she didn't lose baby weight? Which part was fun? He froze. Then said the one sentence that sealed everything. You should have tried harder. I inhaled, then exhaled. So calm it scared even me. That's when I slid the divorce papers across the table. He stared. Maya, no, wait, we can fix this. You're overreacting. Overreacting. The word men invented to keep women quiet. I opened the envelope and placed the flash drive next to it. This contains your lies, I said. Your stolen client data, your mocking of colleagues, your private conversations. Everything your company will need. He swallowed. You wouldn't. I tilted my head. It's already done. His face crumpled. He tried crying, then threatening, then bargaining, then gaslighting, but I didn't flinch. I'm leaving, I said softly, and I'm letting the consequences follow you. Naturally, honestly, because unlike you, I don't need to manipulate a spreadsheet to know my worth. He collapsed into a chair. Maya, I can't lose everything. You rated me for years, I said, standing. Now the world gets to rate you. I walked upstairs, finished packing my suitcase, and grabbed the keys to the apartment I'd already leased in secret. As I left, Ethan whispered, please don't go. I paused. You downgraded me to a 6, I said. You'll survive. And I closed the door. Behind me, I heard him scream. It was the sound of a man fully realizing that the woman he underestimated had finally stopped caring. People ask if revenge feels good. No, it feels necessary, like taking out rotting wood before it collapses the whole house. Within 2 months, Ethan lost his job permanently. 3 of the guys were dumped. 2 were under HR investigation for sharing confidential info. 1 moved back in with his parents. Another entered therapy after his fiancé left him. The group chat died, quietly, without dignity. As for me, I moved. I got a new job. I signed up for a pottery class. I reconnected with friends. I slept through the night for the first time in years. Hannah and Jess became close to me, trauma-bonded, maybe, but real. We joked sometimes, dark humor healing old scars. Imagine rating your wife, Jess said once, shaking her head. Idiots. Hannah lifted her wine glass. To not being a 6, we laughed. Months later, I saw Ethan at the grocery store. He looked different, thinner, older, carrying the weight of his fallout. He approached me slowly. Maya, can we talk? No, I said gently. He swallowed. I've been doing therapy, a lot of it. I know I messed up. I know I treated you like a spreadsheet, I said. He winced. Yeah. We stood there for a moment, 2 people who once shared a life. Finally, he whispered, you were never a 6. I smiled softly. I know, and I walked away, not triumphant, not smug, just free, because revenge isn't about destroying someone. It's about rebuilding yourself with the pieces they never appreciated. And sometimes, the greatest revenge is simply showing the world, you were never the one who needed to be graded. You were the one who should have been treasured. Always.